Hi, my name is Savannah, and I have been gone for a while, so I want to do a little tiny series of Let's Talks because I haven't been informing you what books I've been reading, what books I have read this year. So let's talk Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I originally started this book back in, I believe, late November, early December. Didn't finish it until the 3rd of January, but first book of the year, and have a lot of things to say about it. By the time I started reading this series, I think probably everyone on BookTube has read it or has at least started it, and I originally wanted to read the series because Six of Crows was like the it thing. In the beginning, I wasn't too impressed with how it started. I feel like the beginning I can never push past like 50 pages in, and I really have to like force myself to do it. This was kind of like that beginning point of me kind of being like really picky when I read things. So thanks, Shadow and Bone. Thanks. Second thing that kind of wasn't like the best opening was that it felt very similar. A lot of like the traits that Alina was kind of showing in the beginning was very familiar. Also, the love triangle thing was very prominent in the very beginning. Like, yeah. It's kind of something that I would like to have been like built up a little bit more, because I felt like it was so prominent so early on and I just didn't feel right, and kind of like insta-lovey a lot with Alina and the Darkling. The writing for me, I was definitely not a fan of for a lot of it. They're an airplane. The writing for me was very unlikable at times. It felt very almost like CW TV and almost like really Vampire Diaries-esque, the way they talk and sort of like the back and forth kind of banter nonsense that they do like all the fucking time. And it felt like that in a lot of different places when Alina was talking to Maul or the Darkling or to herself. Her inner monologue was kind of really annoying. Going back to the plot, so in the beginning it was super dull and I didn't want to read it because it was very boring and I didn't know where it was gonna go. And it picked up maybe like midway through into like a really interesting premise and it was going somewhere really good. But the ending, I honestly do not remember the ending at all. I feel like maybe it's a cliffhanger, maybe it wasn't. I don't remember anything about it. Let's start off with some of these characters. Okay, Alina is our main character and I was not a fan of hers. Definitely was not a fan. I didn't agree with a lot of her actions, a lot of her choices, a lot of what she was doing was very sort of impulse based, which is funny to say because I'm an Aries and I do a lot of things out of impulse, so I guess I don't want people to be like me. It was very like Katniss based in the way that she didn't really think about the consequences, she didn't really think about what she was saying or what she was doing. So yeah, all that stuff. Was not a fan of that. Darkling, which was very interesting. He's like the dark, brooding man that you want Alina to be with, but she's obviously not going to be with him because he's like evil and such, and it's very Vampire Diaries-esque. I've been watching a lot of that show, so that's why I'm making all of these references to it. I also want to read some of the Goodreads status updates that I did during this book because they are intense. Page 182. So Alina is pretty horny for the Darkling, but is in love with Maul. Does this persist? What kind of name is Maul? Maul? Really? Page 223. I've started highlighting all the times Alina thinks, talks about, / creams herself regarding the Darkling. Also, I've started skim reading because I'm ready to be disappointed if that fucking Maul comes back. Also, in my review, I said that Maul was a rancid shit / fuckboy, which is very funny because I don't remember writing that. I just didn't like Maul to begin with. He seemed very not okay. Like, why did Alina love him? I feel like she only liked him because of the convenience of having someone that you've known for so long and you've sort of built this attachment to them. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was like more of an attachment than maybe love. If this book was made into a movie, we would have definitely gotten some Darkling sex scenes. Am I right, ladies? that would have definitely happened. Overall, I'm continuing with the series. I thought it was enjoyable to a fault. I was almost too focused on this love triangle, which I hate to say, but it was very entertaining. What they were saying to each other was just kind of the most dumb, annoying YA type of shit, but it was so enjoyable to read. Which is funny to say, and this is why they write that kind of shit, because we like it. But I almost forgot that she was fucking learning magic and shit. Like, that was part of the plot. The plot was that she's trying to become, she found out she's a Grisha and she's becoming sort of this magical human being, and I totally forgot that that was even a part of it for such a long time. Hoping to get my hands on maybe the audiobook of Siege and Storm, because I'm really in an audiobook mood. Let me know in the comments if you think Leigh Bardugo's writing gets a lot better in the next coming books, because I know people have said that Six of Crows is so well written, and I think maybe this is kind of like the lowest point in her writing. Also, let me know if you've read the entire series and think it gets better, because I wasn't the biggest fan of this book, but I think it was enjoyable for what it was. To me, apparently, I don't read that much fantasy, so I wasn't that into the sort of magical system or anything that was happening, but I could be if it gets better. Also, let me know if reading the entire Grisha trilogy is paramount to reading Six of Crows, because you know what? I have the Six of Crows audiobook, and I might just like listen to that instead of finishing the other two books, but I don't know. We'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.